Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. Right, WarbossTae Painting Challenge, Day 8, and end of week objectives need to be secured, and I'm very pleased to say I have managed to achieve it, but not without a good amount of work. So yeah, I've gone over the whole army, and I've washed the whole army with that orange wash, and it took me 7 hours. Yeah, I knew it would take a good number of hours, but yeah, 7 hours in total. I was controlling the wash, being fairly careful. I had a few things that I had to do, like on the raiders, for example, I had to like wash maybe underneath and let them dry, and then wash one side and let that dry, etc. Now, in between doing the washes, I have been doing a bit of research for next week's painting project, the next stage as such. So I'm going to update you on that, but first I'm going to show you the work that I've done, and I have a new camera lens. Check this out, guys. Look at that. Hopefully it's still focusing. So there you go. So this is how they're looking after the wash. Quite similar, but the orange wash has really sort of brought that dry brush that I did all together. So that's how they're looking. Those are the guys on the Ravagers. Just moving at the back here. The Grotesques, who are actually continuing to cause me a few issues actually, because now I'm wondering how I'm going to paint the skin. But I'll talk about that at a later date. And then we're looking at the Scourges. So that's them. I'm having to go freehand because I've just got so much on the table at the moment. But yeah, I've got this new lens. It's just a more powerful lens. I had the 18 to 55. This is the 18 to 135, so it's got a bit more zoom. And it also means that I can physically get closer and actually focus closer. I was having a bit of an issue with the other one. When I had to set it to 80mm to get it to focus. I had to be quite far away from the lens. But with this more powerful zoom, I'm able to focus in, but actually still be physically fairly close, which is really good. So that is how the Raiders are looking after their wash. Looking pretty cool. They're looking dirty, they're looking Dark Eldar-y, and they're not really looking rusty, they're just looking old, which is exactly the sort of finish that I was looking for. So that is those, and then the Venoms, they're starting to look pretty cool. No orange on them yet, so that's going to be done with the freehand. And then we've got the Kronos and Talos, just there. That's the Ravager pasty card bits that I did. And then coming on to the last board, we've got the Witches. And that is how they're looking. And finally, the Hellions. So, yes, a lot of work, like I said. In terms of the wash, I used a whole pot of that brand new big pots of wash. Literally, I literally used the very last bit on the very last section of the model. So next I'm going to have a look at next week's objective. I've got some test paint to show you that I've been working on for the skin, and I've got to answer the daily question. So I'm just going to pack all this up, and then we'll go table down and have a little chat. Okay, so first of all, the question of today, the closet of purgatory. Dive into your closet of shameful purchases and share an impulse buy that you know you may never get to. Okay, well, in my cupboard I do have a lot of models still to be built, but none of them I've actually purchased. They've all been gifts. As I've already shown you previously, I have that massive Chaos army, and I have loads of Eldar as well that I've still got to get to. There's a whole Iandin army, all the Wraith Guard and everything in there that I've still got to get to, but all of that was given to me. I've actually got no boxes of models that I've purchased and not built. Everything that I've purchased I've built, and yes, I've got some units still to paint, but I do plan on getting around to them at some point. So I actually have nothing, no shameful boxes of models that I think I'm never going to get to. And I think the main reason for that is I don't tend to impulse buy. You know, I think about what I'm going to buy, I plan what I'm going to buy, I save for what I'm going to buy. So yeah, so that's day 8 question done. So let's just open this up. So this is the weekly Oath of Moments. So the first week from day 1 to day 8, I have achieved, as I said. So that was dry brushing all the orange, painting the orange, and although I didn't write it down, washing the orange as well. So we're on day 8 now. So let's get my brush. So on this paintbrush, I make my Oath of Moment. By the end of day 15, I will paint the skin and the hair on the whole of the army. Doesn't sound like much, does it? But the skin, I think, is going to be the painstaking side of it. I'm going to show you my test skin model in a minute. Now, the reason why I've put the skin and hair in this second week rather than the bone and details is because I want to... I think the skin's going to be the hardest thing to do, the most painstaking one. So I put it into week 2. Originally, I was going to paint the bone in week 2, but I think the bone colour, being that it's on all the weapons, all the close combat weapons and stuff, we're going to get that bone colour. I think that will actually be a fun week. Now, week 3 of the challenge is always the hardest because sometimes you get a bit burnt out after so much painting the first couple of weeks. So I put the bone colour in week 3 to keep week 3 exciting. So I put the hard stuff, what I consider the hard stuff, the skin, in week 2. So that was the reason for that. So yeah, skin and hair is where I want to get to. Now I've got a plan for the hair. And in actual fact, I think I've come up with some sort of fluff stroke theme idea for the army, which I'm very excited about, but I'm going to show you that or talk about that tomorrow. So for today, I just want to show you my test scheme for the skin. So let's just pop this down now, hopefully. This is all going to focus in now. Obviously with the harsh lights, hopefully it's not going to wash this out too much. But yeah, I've been experimenting. Now, obviously we're talking about Dark Eldar skin, so I want to avoid any sort of human coloration to the skin, so I wanted to stay away from any warm colours and any skin colours. So I've decided to use a grey as a base, and then a purple wash, and then a grey and highlight, and then a slightly lighter grey highlight. Now the one on the left here, these are 2 different experiments. So the one on the left is the one that I'm going to actually go for, which was Celestra Grey base, the purple wash, then Celestra Grey highlight, and then a Celestra Grey and white highlight as the final highlight. Once I did that, I did a second experiment. I just wanted to try a slightly lighter grey. So I started base with the Celestra Grey mixed with some white, and then the purple wash, and then the base coat highlight, and then white as a highlight. And I think it just looks too white, and also the purple wash over the white has gone a little bit brighter than on this one. So on this one, again, I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but on this one there's a definite more grey hint to the skin, whereas the one on the right is too white, doesn't really look like skin. So this is the one I'm going to use, yeah, it's obviously a lot of work, but it's not overly done. Like I said, it's just a base, a wash, and 2 highlights. So it's going to be, hopefully, look good, but like I said, not too intense in terms of the painting. So my first task, of course, is to go over the whole of the army, all of the skin, and base coating it with Celestra Grey. And judging from my little test piece that I did there, I may have to do 2 coats, certainly on the bigger areas anyway. So that's the plan for the skin. I've got a plan for the hair, but I'll talk about that in tomorrow's video. I don't want this video to go on for too long. So Thanks for watching, as always. I hope you like my progress. I hope you're really enjoying the series of videos of painting this whole army. I'm certainly enjoying painting it. Loads more to come. So yeah, watch out for tomorrow's video.